2020 was the year I burnt out in my 9 to 5. 2021, I made the decision to leave the corporate world and pursue entrepreneurship as a leadership and mindset coach. And I haven't looked back since. The topic of quitting your 9 to 5 to pursue other dreams is still on an uproar, even 3 years after the initial wave that has been caused by COVID. Us being stuck and bored at home and seeking new ways of generating income. However, this is not a decision that should be taken lightly. And in today's episode, I want to go into some points as to when and why you should quit your 9 to 5. And I'm going to be straight up honest with you. You might actually think staying at your current role is what you will walk away with after we have covered everything today. And yes, that from the mouth of an obviously biased entrepreneur. The reason I'm saying this is because very often people have specific expectation of what it means to be self-employed, as well as what their success should look like. So if I ask my clients of mine who are considering leaving their 9 to 5, a common answer, for example, is to make a shit ton of money, work 4 hours a week, and travel the world. And whilst this might initially do sound like a dream, not gonna lie, when we start to dig deeper into this version of their most successful dream life, chances are they actually don't want any of that, or actually a very different version of that. And there is two problems with this. First up, when you leave the 9 to 5 and start your business because you want more time freedom, you might actually find yourself working more than before, because now everything is on your shoulders alone, especially if you're a one-woman show. And I wrote a post about this on LinkedIn the other day saying that every entrepreneur can add countless new roles to their CV, like content creator, video editor, marketing strategist, CFO, head of operations, product development, customer service, copywriter, website designer, podcast host, obviously, and so many more. Next to their actual title role they introduce themselves with, like in my case, leadership and mindset coach. So entrepreneurship takes time and effort. Anyone who has achieved the financial abundance, time freedom, and location flexibility most likely has been putting in both of that big times before actually enjoying the fruit of their labor. And the second problem goes even deeper into the personal level, though, because it is tightly attached to what success really means to you. So let me ask you, do you actually want to travel the world? Or do you rather stay close to your friends and family, but go on a nice trip every now and then? Do you actually enjoy having loads of free time? Or do you love working on things that spark joy in you and have like a structured work day? And do you also really want to make millions? Or are you actually already satisfied with making, for example, 5 to 10K a month just to comfortably cover all the bills? So for example, Michelle Obama's version of success isn't about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives. So her version of success is more about the impact she can have rather than the financial abundance that can come with it. And as for Michelle Obama, your version of success might completely look different. There's also another example from Meryl Streep. The formula of happiness and success is just being actually yourself in the most vivid possible way that you can. So you got to get clear on what your personal definition of success is, completely detached from what you might think success should like based on the fancy cars, beach houses, and awards that other people have won or whatever they post on Instagram these days. So do ask yourself this moment, what is your true definition of success? What does a day in the life look like when everything is a 10 out of 10? Do you have millions in your bank account? Or are you just covering your bills, comfortably go on a trip every now and then? Do you work only 4 hours a week and live most of the time in a hammock or whatever it is? Or do you actually have like a structured kind of day where you do go to work and you enjoy working in a good working environment where you have like a good working culture? Maybe it is actually to have a positive impact on one other person, to enable a comfortable life for your kids, to just love your job and being able to spend time with your family. Maybe it is, as said, like making more money or getting that promotion and living in a penthouse in Dubai. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Then with this information, you can think about where you are right now and what's the gap to where you want to be. So if you are currently working in a 9 to 5, is your version of success possible, or would be quitting or entrepreneurship the way to get there? You really got to be honest with yourself here. For me, I thought for a long time that I will forever stay at my company until I make it as a CFO. That literally was my big dream. However, I ignored and neglected actually my inner calling to do my own thing during those years. I still remember to this day, my first ever childhood dream of my work life was to be a boss. Nothing else. When I got asked a question, I just said, I want to be a boss. And I translated that into becoming a CFO for like almost a decade, until I couldn't stand any longer working for someone else, not having the impact I sought to have, and not being able to create my own schedule and decide my own workload based on my passions and strengths and what feels good to me and authentic to me. This all influenced my version of success, in which I have the freedom to do what I want to make this world a better place. So my version of success is based on positive impact on others, whilst also allowing myself to live freely as who I am. And those are the three big values of mine as well: freedom, authenticity, and impact. So you got to get really, really clear on what you want to stand for, what's important to you, and then link that to your version of success. Anything else is literally a great byproduct, like location flexibility or millions in your bank account. And I know that I already have been very successful in my life, as I have changed countless other people's lives for the better. And I did it my way. This is literally my mantra, doing it my way. So I'm currently literally living almost my most successful life because I can have this impact on other people. So I do want to ask you, with this new definition of success, is leaving your 9 to 5 your way? And you got to be really, really honest with yourself. In addition, I also want to point out it is actually rather vital asking yourself whether it is actually a smart thing to do for you at this point in time. Because the last thing we would want is for you to hand in your resignation, run off, and then find yourself struggling. So some aspects that are important to get clear on are your financials, your support system, and your plan of action. Financials are crucial, especially if you want to create more financial stability and freedom in your life. It might not yet be wise to leave the secure income stream. Many entrepreneurs start with side hustles next to their full-time roles, or they go part-time until their business is profitable enough to sustain their lives. For example, me personally, I had the advantage of a redundancy package that supported me in the first years of business, as well as additional backup from my boyfriend, who's obviously covering his part of the bills with his 9 to 5 income. Because I have to say this, there will be dips in income, like you will have months with low numbers, and you got to be prepared and ready for those times, and also be okay with that happening. Because there is no such thing as just overnight success. Overnight success always has actually been prepared for years. It's always something that has been for years in the making. So you got to be patient, and you got to be willing to play this patience game. The second aspect I mentioned was the support system, like partners, friends, families, but also mentors and coaches that will have your back when things get tough, not necessarily just financially, but more so emotionally. Because as you go through this time, you will face mindset blocks, limiting behavior patterns, changes in your surroundings, and more that require for you to have a safe space to work through that. So, for example, many of my clients struggle with imposter syndrome and self-doubt, whether they are really cut out to be an entrepreneur. They are questioning and second guessing themselves whether they should launch that offer, whether they should actually go out there. They struggle with showing up for themselves live on Instagram, for example. And these are all going back to moments of self-doubt. So we've got to work through that, and we got to build a growth mindset, hone their leadership skills, and beat procrastination and the self-doubt in the bud to create also a work-life balance that is sustainable rather than draining, and supports them on this mission to be in it long term. Like, even for myself, I actually had a set of different coaches I was working with. And I also joined a mastermind so I could be surrounded by like-minded women who were going through the same. And honestly, like building new connections and having my coaches in my back pocket and always believing in me and pushing me outside my comfort zone, holding me accountable was and still is the key to creating my business, but also my success. And the last aspect is the plan of action. Instead of diving into all of this blindly, do create a plan of action with what you want to do and how you want to do it. Or in other words, your strategy and execution plan. This way, you feel prepared for when you are all of a sudden on your own with 24 hours a day and all the possible tasks that you could tackle. Because when I still remember, like the first day after I was outside of corporate was very scary. I was just sitting there and was thinking, there's so much to do at the same time. I don't feel like I could do anything. So I was literally just stuck in that moment. So taking some time beforehand to prepare this strategy and execution plan will help you to get going right away. Unless you want to take a break, that's totally fine too. Do take a break if you need to. Because putting up a clear red thread can help you to feel less overwhelmed and gain momentum as you go. Again, this is something I often work with my clients as well, so they don't feel like winging it every day. And for example, my personal plan was to finish my certification, get my coaching hours in, and then get accredited whilst building my platforms and showing up daily to sell my services. This was my plan of strategy as well as execution. So these three aspects will help you tremendously in navigating the transition from your 9 to 5 into entrepreneurship if you do decide to go down this path. To sum it up and to answer the question as to when and why to leave your 9 to 5, get first crystal clear on what success looks like for you and whether entrepreneurship is your way to get there. Then also make sure your financials are in order, that you have a strong support system, that you're not completely alone, and that you also have a plan of action. And if you also want to learn more about my story of leaving corporate and starting my own business, I highly recommend listening to episode 1 if you haven't done so already. And if you want to have more support to work through your definition of success, your values, and also how to get there, like your strategy and execution, I do have a little gift for you at this point. So if you do send me a DM or an email if you want, with your dream business that you would like to create or already started, and the code word entrepreneur, you will get an exclusive £50 off the coaching booster session or the one-on-one coaching program of any length. So I repeat, just send me an email or a DM on Instagram with your dream business idea and the word entrepreneur to get £50 off the coaching booster session or the one-on-one coaching program of any length. All the details to reach out to me and to get in touch with me are also in the description box down below. And I can't wait to hear from you. So don't forget to also leave a like and subscribe. And if I don't see you in my inbox, I do definitely see you next week at the same place and the same time with another episode. Bye.